Well, who will pay for the thousands and thousands of illegal migrants in New York City? The city, New Yorkers, taxpayers, not the state, because Governor Kathy Hochul has left that out of the state budget altogether. So New Yorkers, you're on your own. Here is how this is being presented now. New state budget bites New York City. They're on the hook for migrants and schools. Now, let's take a quick look at how this works. This is how the New York Post laid this out quite brilliantly, and we're going to look at it a little bit more closely in a second. They say, despite the city being a subdivision of self-proclaimed sanctuary state, the legislature abdicated their responsibility on New York's migrant crisis. So the state itself is a sanctuary place, but they're not going to help out. They're saying, that's on you. Yes, we collectively agree that New York should be a sanctuary state, but New York, you're going to have to handle this one on your own. So left on the hook are New York City residents and taxpayers who must bear 100% of the burden of housing and feeding more than 180,000 migrants who have arrived here since 2022. Now, they're projecting that this will cost $12 billion, but Albany is only giving the city $2.4 billion, so they will have to pay out of pocket. Now, we've spoken about how there are absolutely rackets in terms of who is getting these feeding contracts because the city was buying meals for these migrants, but they found out that the migrants weren't actually eating the food. They didn't like it, and they weren't able to handle all the various diets that they had. Some of them are vegan. Some of them don't like vegan food. Some of them have, diabetes or what have you. They don't like gluten. And so what they've done now, I refer you to the piece that we did about the credit cards that they're handing out, very high fee credit cards given to the state, paid for by the city of New York, because they just don't like it. And, you have to wonder, well, the city is able to feed people with diverse diets. They do it in schools and prisons every single day. Why do the migrants get their own choice? They can just order up some Uber Eats. Also, the fact that cash credit cards makes them less safe because then they themselves get robbed by the gangs that are infiltrated migrant centers. But cool, we're not worried about that at all. Here is New York Senator Mario Matera pointing out just how unfair this is to New Yorkers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just listening to everybody's debates here today, it's been a very, very interesting night. Everybody's tired, but this is just so important. $2.4 billion going to the illegal migrant crisis that our governor and our mayor of New York State created. I had a conversation with the governor. I told her straight to her face at Kings Park High School. I said, Governor, there you are going to cut foundation aid money in this school district, which everybody got their numbers. It's amazing that the numbers that were cut. Foundation aid went away, but guess what happens? Our school districts got cut with monies, $2.4 billion. So our school aid money was cut to go to $2.4 billion. Senator Kruger mentioned also $750 million last year. That number is not correct. It's $1.9 billion. So now, this year and last year, that's $4.3 billion that went to this illegal migrant crisis. All of taxpayers' monies. All New Yorkers need to know what is happening with this budget here today. And everybody needs to know that that's our hard-working money that we put into this state to go to good things, not things for illegal migrants that are coming here. It's not their fault because we have a governor and we have a mayor of New York that is allowing this. But it's blaming the federal government. That is not the truth, everybody here. It's not the federal government. I want to know who's paying for the airline flight tickets.
Yeah.
Who's paying for the bus tickets?
Preach.
Who's paying for the $400 a night? Right now, with 2 hotels that are up here, a couple hotels, $400 a night, $1,000 a month credit cards. It's amazing.
Matera,
I know a lot
vote?
of people with food insecurities that right now that could use that. New York State resident taxpayers.
Senator
Do we realize
Matera,
what we
how
have
do you vote?
Jesus.
Okay. Now, Clayton and I, we met in New York City. We did pay taxes as New York State residents for early years of our marriage. And as soon as we moved out of New York, we were like, let's not even step one toe back over state lines because they'll start to tax us again. We were so afraid of being in that high tax area, right? And this is what you get for it. You wouldn't even want to send your kids to school there because we've shown you videos of a lady whose kids got yanked from school because the city needed that school in order to house the migrants because the tent shelter that they were in was unstable in bad weather. So you're not getting anything for you for your taxes. You're giving it away. Now, again, consider that the average American worker works from January to May to just give that money to their tax bill, and then from June on is what you get to keep. Now, what you pay for from January to May, you're supposed to think, well, I get bridges and roads and schools and fire service and all of that. You don't. You're giving it to other people now. You're not even getting that. Now, here, let's take a look at how this proposed budget is going to work out.
I'm just laughing. Well, I'm just laughing because it's ridiculous. I think most Americans don't even think that that's true anymore. Like when they think, well, I pay my taxes, then this is going into my community. This is fixing my streets. This is fixing my roads and bridges. And they see tent cities of illegal immigrants like on their, park benches, sleeping in their parks and being given free room and board. And just to think, like for Mother's Day, or no, for Christmas, I got my mom a trip to go up to. She loves Broadway shows, so I got her a trip to go up to Broadway, right, with my sister. And so she went up, and I paid for the hotel, and to go up there. And it was a few $100s for the hotel. If she was an illegal immigrant, she would have had free hotels. She would have got free buses. Yeah. She would have got a free train ride right into New York City. And but no. Instead, because you're an American citizen, you have to pay for all of those things.
Right. I've been just doing some bureaucratic work, as an American citizen lately, like trying to file for documents and things like that. Just dumb things everyone has to do. And I go to these government websites and I'm like, why at the DMV is there an option here for U.S. citizen and then undocumented migrant? So I just click it to see like, okay, I need my license renewed, but what if I was undocumented? And who built this into the state's website saying that you can get this, that, or the other? The same with like medical insurance. Like every now government portal has an option for undocumented migrants in order to get all the benefits that I'm going through to pay for. I'm just so curious. Who's doing that? Like what web designer says, well, the state or the federal infrastructure now needs a portal for anyone undocumented. They get all this stuff for free. But U.S. residents, no, you need 2 forms of ID. You pay for the renewal of the license, all of that. So who's doing that? And it's costing money, right? That's not going to us. So let's look at the governor of New York. She had this big press conference. She was super excited to show off her proposed budget for the coming year. Here is vaguely how it works out. It's 43% of the budget for health. And then it lists the other things there that they want to spend on, 20% on education. Okay. Again, you're in one of the best, most popular states in the world, and your kids are not even going to get the best education. But let's sort of dig into that a little, because the governor says that this budget is heavy on security. She's really tired of mom and pop shops shutting down. She's really bullish on retail theft. She doesn't want that to happen anymore. But when you pull down what they are actually proposing to spend on public protection and criminal justice, do you see the number at the bottom of the screen? That is 16.2% less than last year. So how is she going to say that she's making the state of New York safer when she's going to spend less on protection and criminal justice? The governor says, though, she will make the streets safer. This is from her own highlighted page. Here's how she's going to make the streets safer: by new efforts to fight toll evasion on our roads and fare evasion on the subway.
Oh, so thank God.
Yeah. No more skipping your toll.
Hang on, I'll be right back. I got to go wake up Adelaide. I'm sure she's still sleeping, and let her know that we're safe again, because I hate coordinators. That's
you know what? It's morning in America. Thank you, Ronald Reagan. Like, you saved us. You really saved us.
How does that make anybody safer? by fighting toll evasion and fare evasions on the subway.
You know, well,
who even wrote that as a bullet point? Like,
maybe,
oh, I'm so excited about this.
Maybe she read Malcolm Gladwell's book Tipping Point and went back to like how Rudy Giuliani was able to like clean up New York City. One of the areas that you fix America or you fix New York City is stop toll evaders in the subways, the people that were hopping the subways, and also stop the spray paint. Like those two things totally turn your city around. Mm-hmm. Stop the spray paint, stop the toll jumpers. And then you have no crime anymore. It's miraculous.
So there will be no illegal immigrants going through the toll thing then?
Apparently not. Pay too? No, they get a free card just to go right through. I mean, just like their free airline passes. Line. It's a separate line. Oh, you're illegal? Oh. Yeah. By the way, I did like that guy in the New York State Assembly who kept using the terms illegal immigrants. Yeah. Because as you know, we now know, the Associated Press even changed their style guide. It's they do not want you using the term illegal.
No, they want you to call them undocumented.
Undocumented citizens. They want you to call them migrants. They don't want you to. The term illegal refers to an action, not a person. They say, right? Okay. That's what the Associated
Joe
Press.
Biden called him illegal in his speech, so
and he got in trouble for it by Nancy Pelosi. So his wife.
You don't want his wife.
I'm just wondering.
Didn't get ice cream.
How do you even get through the toll without paying in New York City? Are people going through that thing? What do you call it? Like
toll?
How do you?
I think it's probably just don't they have the little like the things that just like the automatic reader? Like
the Easy Pass. I guess you could fake the Easy Pass, but then you get a ticket, and I guess people are not paying their tickets.
Not paying their tickets, I guess. Then?
And it's okay to break that law. Okay, I'm just curious. Anyway. I have no desire to fake out of tolls and things like that, but apparently that's a problem, and she's excited enough that she's going to fix it next year. Here's another thing that they're going to do is they're going to fight the rising tide of hate by expanding the number of offenses that can be prosecuted as hate crimes and investing $35 million in the Securing Communities Against Hate grant. Now, again, we've talked about this, that crime doesn't matter what your incentive is. If you commit a crime against somebody, a crime is a crime, right? What they want to do is expand the spectrum of things you cannot say so that they eventually can expand that umbrella to the government so that you can't criticize the government. It's not somebody's doing hate crimes and getting away with it because a crime is a crime. This is thought crime that they're after. But she will incentivize the media who says the right things. The state will offer a big tax credit to broadcasters. New York State implements historic tax credits to support local newspaper and broadcast media. I'm sure they won't be biased at all in their coverage of this incentive, right? Especially of the migrant crisis that New York City is pretending is not happening. Here were migrants in New York City just last week protesting work permits that they cannot get and aid programs that they are promised but don't have. So it's a little bit fast, but you can see these are lines and lines of people who are waiting to get into a meeting, a city meeting about how to deal with migrants from, I believe, New Guinea is where that population was from. They were African migrants who were promised things like jobs and housing and work permits, and they have not received them. So they were there to protest. So that bill is on you, New York City, already high taxpayers, and it's going to get worse because that's what the city has decided you're paying taxes for. The state won't help you. Neither will the federal government. So work harder to pay for it because the politicians that you voted for signed you up to take this check. This one's on me, they say.
I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. You know, YouTube thinks that you'll actually like this next video right here. It's personalized based on your own viewing habits. So if you watch the video, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think about it. And we will see you next time, everyone.